The phone conversation between fantasy veterans Bob Harris and Matt Waldman is a quick and dirty rundown of players, units, or teams from Sunday's games. Feel it or fuck it is our instant verdict on the fantasy value of a player or situation, not the ability, effort, or character of the player. This is just how two old-timers in this industry talk when they got a lot to cover in a little time.
Good morning, Matt Waldman. How many fewer lineups do you have to set this week?
I think two. One that stings, to be honest. After me talking a little, me crowing a little bit on our show Saturday, I'm eating some crow today. So
it happens. I won't know until I don't even look at scores until Tuesday night when I'm setting the next lineup. Yeah. So I won't know.
I'm either one safety short, my man, or I have two scoring adjustments that will make the difference, but I don't think they will. So congratulations to my my buddy Matt Patanti, who's been my main rival in that league. One of us
you
is
don't
having
actually
a dynasty,
mean the congratulations.
and he hasn't.
You don't mean it. I can see it in your eyes.
No, I mean it, but
Okay.
stings right now. So the real me's fighting through the sting. I'll put it that way. But what about Jahan Dotson? Rest of the playoffs, you think he's stinging people?
Nah, fuck him. No, look, this is playoff time, Matt. It's very important to not outsmart ourselves. And so we look at a Giants team that had just gotten burned by Terry McLaurin. Where was all their attention going? Terry McLaurin, right? And I think Scott Turner's a sharp enough cookie to realize that, and leverage that. And as he has over times the years, this year, where we've seen Dotson kind of, have some moments where he caught our attention. A lot of it had to do with scheme, it seemed like. And so credit to Scott Turner. But in fantasy playoff time, is he a playable commodity? Yes. If I'm in a horrible, desperate mode. But I'd have to be that. I mean, there are going to be games where he disappears, where teams aren't treating Terry McLaurin like he just destroyed them the last time these two teams met 2 weeks ago.
I think that's certainly fair. I mean, at the same time, I look at Jahan Dotson and I think, yeah, I mean, you haven't really seen him. He hasn't been really healthy from week 5 until about week 10, and he was still kind of getting things back together. So I felt like this was a game that you could see coming. The big question, though, is, and especially after, even in week 13, 5 for 54 for a touchdown. I'm kind of feeling him, but not really, not in a two right. receiver league. But if you start 3 or 4, he's certainly startable in that.
Absolutely,
in that case.
Yeah. So I should have qualified that. I mean, I'm not looking to force him into lineups if I have guys that have gotten me here already, and that's kind of the mode I'm in. In all my playoff teams, I have players that got me there. I'm not going to sit here and outsmart myself. Say, oh look, a rising star. I must get him in my lineup.
See, sorry, I'm off the sting of a guy. I'm off the sting of a guy that didn't get me there, but but had gotten me there before that I should have played. But
I hear you.
So maybe that's what it is. But yeah, Dotson looked good the other night. The catch that he had last night, with the late hands against the corner where he made the jump in one step to basically have the corner on his inside hip and make the jump to be able to win that. That's what he did at Penn State for a couple years, and looked really good doing it.
I feel like if I'm playing Jahan Dotson this year, it's the same reason I was playing Juwan Johnson last year, right? Because I'm going to get, at some point I'm going to get the guy that I wanted to get. I think we tend to be, as fantasy managers, a little bit ahead of the curve on these guys because we have maybe a little better understanding of their talents and what they're capable of. And so we jump in thinking that everything's going to fall into place right away. It just tends to take a little time to fall into place. So and Juwan Johnson, go man. But also on Dotson, I mean, he does look phenomenal. So again, if you're in a league where you're sitting there and you're going, oh no, I have this sudden hole. Yeah, if he's out there on the waiver wire, if for no other reason to block somebody else in the playoffs as well, in case he has another big game, don't have it against you.
Yeah, and I think that's very well explained. But a guy who didn't get us there at all, but certainly seems to be ready to take us there the rest of the way is J.K. Dobbins, top 5 running back for the playoffs.
No, but running back 1, yes.
Okay.
Right, running back 1 for sure, or ideally running back 2. Right, hopefully you still have that anchor stud that you expected, and a lot of players that maybe have been disappointing us, for a portion of the year starting to return. I do think look, the offense isn't as great right now. What do they have, like 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games or something ridiculous? I mean, that's the problem, and he'll acknowledge that his breakaway speed, like the long run, this weekend, were he up to full speed, he would have taken that the entire way. But as a locked in starter every week, I was there heading into this week, and I'm there for the rest of the season. He will be in all my starting lineups where I have him.
Yeah, I mean, 28 for 245 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2 games. I don't care whether the speed's there or not. It'll be amazing when he is. But if the speed was there, he'd probably be at, 28 for 320 yards and 4 touchdowns. But, to me, all that's good enough he's close to a top 5 if he's not. I'll just put it that way. But he's definitely a running back one for sure.
Absolutely.
But what about Kenneth Walker, rest of the season?
I would rather play J.K. Dobbins.
Of course you would. See, I'm here to push you, Mister.
I'm not ready to fuck anybody right yet. That's a starting running back for my playoff teams. But I'm not feeling Kenneth Walker at the moment. And I think Pete Carroll has, discussed even the week before when Walker was out and DJ Dallas were out, and we didn't get a lot out of Travis Homer and that other guy, Tony Jones Jr. And he kind of lamented the offensive line's play, and I kind of agree with that. I think they need to play a little better up front. And Kenneth Walker, though, has not run, hasn't shown the big breakaway abilities and things we've seen. I think they're still there, so I'm probably still playing him. And hopefully I have another back or he's in a flex spot, but definitely not feeling him the way I was.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not feeling the way it was either. And now he's playing the Jets next week, so I'm not feeling him next week. Now against the Rams, I'll feel a little bit more sprightly about that. But that's, again, it's all of, to me, a big part of this is the function of the offensive line. Seattle's offensive line has not been all that great. So who are you feeling more? You don't have to say this year. Who are you feeling more in the future, the near future, like say next year? Jelani Woods or Trey McBride?
Feeling the athletic ability of Jelani Woods more, feeling the circumstances maybe of Trey McBride a little more. And some of this will depend on and feeling them both. I mean, I think they're both pretty talented players. I thought it was interesting for McBride, though, the kind of going from the inline guy to the move guy out of necessity when Ertz got hurt. I don't know. We'll see about Ertz. I mean, I think that's probably the limiting factor to me for McBride. If Ertz is back in full speed, my guess is the Cardinals offense is going to be better than the Colts offense. So that's why I lean McBride. But maybe wholesale changes on both sides of this equation are coming that we can't yet quite see. But Kyler Murray, is a quarterback I'd feel pretty comfortable with, assuming, and even Colt McCoy, even assuming. So slight lean to McBride. I think in a dynasty league, if I was playing this really long term, I might go with Jelani Woods. I think he has some more development to do.
Yeah, I'm leaning McBride. I certainly like the way that he runs through people. I like the way that I think he's a little bit better of a route runner right now. But I agree, Woods is very talented. So
getting the opportunity to gain this experience, I think for McBride is a big difference maker. I mean, he was kind of stuck in that other spot, and being thrust into this position where he's asked to do a little more is going to help him.
Yeah, exactly, and he's better made for that. I mean, that was really what his deal was. I mean, he could do both, but putting him outside, he really was a weapon like that at Colorado State. So who are you feeling more next year, Justin Fields or Lamar Jackson?
Justin Fields. And just because there seems to be more room for growth, right? Just as a passer, and maybe the weapons around him. Like neither team has great weapons around their quarterback, at least receiving weapons at the moment. And so I think that's limiting factors for both offenses. But I've been impressed with the rise of Fields, and he seems to have everything I'm looking for. And part of this is maybe just the little recency bias. I mean, it's not been a good year for Lamar Jackson and that offense. Just in general, if you go back and you look at the week-to-week production for Lamar Jackson, doesn't have a lot of top tens laying on in his resume this season. And I think maybe part of that is just teams figuring that offense out. Maybe it would have been good if Greg Roman moved on to Stanford, but he's not. So I don't know. I feel a little more comfortable with the younger player right now.
My initial feeling when I see this question is fuck this question, because I like them both.
I like them both too.
Yeah, but if I had to choose, I'm going Lamar Jackson mainly because the wide receiver. I mean, Rashad Bateman looked fantastic when he was healthy, and I think that once he's back, and then you have that combination, as long as they have a triangle of receivers, so you get Dobbins back, you get Andrews back, and you get Bateman back, and I think that that's a great combination for them.
And maybe that's it. I mean, I look at some of the numbers over the last 9 games. Jackson had 7 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. Didn't seem to be, running as much. I don't know, maybe he'll feel a lot better about things when he has a new deal in place as well. Change a little mental outlook there. But in general, just it has been high end, but he has, obviously the better history to lean back on.
But it's so close because I mean, you look at Fields and what he did against Philadelphia last week, and you think about it, and you watch that game, and it's like the most talented players on that offense are Justin Fields and the 2 running backs. That's it. Cole Kmet is like a distant third. And then you've got Byron Pringle, who might be their best receiver, who's been banged up for much of the year. And he was Patrick Mahomes' 4th or 5th best receiver last year. So
right.
That kind of lets you know where they're at offensively. So, Fields, I hear you with Fields having a lot of room for growth. But, yeah, and I do know that Chase Claypool's on that team when I say that Byron Pringle is their best receiver.
Honestly, in drafts, I'll probably take the cheaper one. I mean, if it came down to it, whichever one was cheaper on draft day will probably be the one that's on my roster.
Wise move. How about Raheem Mostert for the rest of the playoffs? Feeling it?
A little bit. Not entirely. I mean, honestly, with the running backs like that, as a flex level play with upside to give you the, super high end production any given week, I think it's a great offense. It can be a great offense in the right circumstances. But I think just as easily we could be having the same conversation about Jeff Wilson Jr. any given week, and that's the issue for me. It's just it's been a high variance year, Matt Waldman, especially at running backs, where we haven't been able to get there's circumstances we'd like to leverage to our advantage, where we just haven't been able to. And up until this point, Baltimore was one of them. Just when you thought it was Gus Edwards' time, it turned into Kenyon Drake time, and just when you thought it was Kenyon Drake time, turned into somebody, and I'm using that as one example. They've been widespread across the league. You see these things that are hard to predict. So I wouldn't want to have to bank on it, but as a flex level play, whichever running back I had on the Miami Dolphins, I needed to play, I would hope it would be their week.
I don't know whether we talked about this last week or not, but I do remember borrowing a lesson I learned from Adam Harstead, mentioning something this week about Raheem Mostert, saying that he was due for a long run. So maybe that was coincidence, but it was nice to see him have a long run against the Bills. But I agree with you. I feel him as a flex play. That's if he's a running back 3. There may be better flexes, but he's right in the middle of that term, and I'm good with that. Now, I know I made you laugh Saturday night when I was on your show, and the guy asked about 3 running backs, and I said Tyler Allgeier, and you're like, you don't even like Tyler Allgeier. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, if I'm telling you I like Tyler Allgeier, I must like, there's a reason why. And 130 something yards later, are you feeling him?
Yes, yes, kind of. Right. I mean, again, this is playoffs, and I can't imagine that if I'm in the playoffs, Tyler Allgeier was the reason I'm there.
Yes.
But if I found myself in a situation where I'm going, oh my gosh, I suddenly don't have my running back. Jonathan Taylor got hurt, and I don't have a running back, and and this guy's sitting on my bench, I'd be feeling the hell out of him. Right. I mean,
right.
Necessity is the mother of feeling it.
Yeah.
And so. Yes, if I needed him, I would have, Cordell Patterson finding the end zone would make me feel him a little bit if I was in those similar circumstances. But neither way do I want these guys as, I wouldn't call them desirable frontline plays.
Are you feeling Tyler Allgeier or Raheem Mostert?
Probably Mostert a little bit, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more with Mostert because it's 2 versus 3. And the two in Miami have a better quarterback right now, even if he's struggling a bit. But Tyler Allgeier ran hard.
He did.
And what I definitely would say I noticed about him that was impressive, and really wasn't him, and I don't mean to bash him, it's just more that his offensive line, the push his offensive line got on just about every run was fantastic. There was a lot of plays where they faced the New Orleans defense that was playing more nickel base, or that they were running gap plays. And if I knew that the league was running a lot more gap, I probably would have liked Tyler Allgeier more, because I mentioned he'd be a better gap runner than he would be a zone runner. And he's a hard runner, and I really like that about his game. So I have a revised opinion of Tyler Allgeier given our NFL environment. I'm feeling him more long-term. Short-term, I'm with you. I think I'd rather have Raheem Mostert. But Allgeier starts to climb into that running back 3 range if you need it. So who are you feeling more next year? Drake London or Jahan Dotson? We'll go back to him.
Leave him out of this. No. So I think it's easy. It's been, maybe a game of expectations for players. We set these expectations, and probably Drake London has fallen short maybe of the high-end expectations people had based on his draft capital, et cetera. But he's produced reasonably well in not really great circumstances. And so I'd probably lean on him, still thinking he's going to be the wide receiver 1 in that offense, and Jahan Dotson is not. Quarterback play, though, maybe evens that out a little bit. So probably still slightly into Drake London for me, slightly.
Yeah, I'm still feeling Drake London as a long-term prospect, and he's certainly one of the better prospects there. But I saw this as more of a compliment to Jahan Dotson than it was a slight to Drake London. In the sense
you will not make me love Jahan Dotson, Matt Waldman.
I can tell. I'm trying to spruce him up for you, but
No, I love Jahan Dotson. Let me rephrase. I love Jahan Dotson. I just am realistic about the range of possible outcomes here.
Yeah,
they're wide.
And I think they're getting narrower. Maybe it's because I'm not feeling Desmond Ridder long term.
Right.
But
maybe, that may be an issue.
And Dotson's ability to win outside in the NFL was something that I wondered how good that was going to be. I think it's going to be pretty good. I can tell what he does inside, but I still give London the slight edge. But Dotson's starting to climb a little bit for me. Zach Wilson, are you feeling Zach Wilson? Can I say it with a straight face?
I'm nobody's mom. Let's see. So.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No. So no. I mean, I just it's going to be hard for them. They've got a hard decision. By the way, timeout. There. Okay. That's how you do it, Robert Saleh. You're welcome. It's that easy. Just call it. It's not hard. No. So I mean, they've been so invested in him, right? And it seems like they're, kind of finally willing to step away from it a little bit, and and take a little more realistic approach. But I still feel like deep down inside that they feel like this guy has, they see one of those little platform throws or whatever he does. They think, oh, he can do that. And I don't know if they're ready to give up on him. I am. I'm ready to fuck them, but I don't know if they are.
Yeah, I feel like the marketing department took over the New York Jets, in a sense, and that we're worried that they still haven't gotten a hostage negotiator to get them out of the front office. But and they just need to understand that just because he's a blonde kid who makes some throws that Jalen Hurts, throws on a regular basis, but does a whole heck of a lot more, like play quarterback at a high level.
Right.
They feel like that they somehow got themselves a version of that. Kind of like he's like the boy band version of a quarterback. So yeah, fuck that. The Detroit Lions defense. I watched that game, and let me just say that Jeff Okudah, fuck that too. That was that was pretty bad. There were some plays that, I'll just put it to you this way: if they played a defense that wasn't Detroit's defense, we would not have Zach Wilson on this list. I'll just put it that way.
Right. It's funny because people keep saying, well, Detroit's playing better defense in the recent weeks, and they are, and that tells you how bad they were.
Oh yeah, yeah. They would not be mistaken they would not be mistaken for a mediocre NFL defense. I'll just put it to you that way. They walk into the mediocre defensive convention room and immediately they get kicked out, even by someone who just got hired off the street that day to be able to eyeball everybody and be basically the gatekeeper. So, who you feeling more next year, Daniel Jones or Davis Mills? Are you even feeling this question?
Well, I mean, Davis Mills has disqualified himself from the conversation, much to my chagrin. I thought, last year he showed that huge, leap in making the connections, and I gave him a little leeway because of, the college career was not a lot of experience because of injury, etc. This year he had the chance to step up, but then he got the chance to step away and step back in, and still he is sharing with Jeff Driscoll, and I think that probably defines Davis Mills right now, sharing with Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah,
I mean, what more do you need?
Yeah, I'm feeling Daniel Jones is the next Chad Henne in about 5 years, but for right now, I'm feeling him more than Davis Mills. Sad to say, I would agree with you because I think everyone was kind of seeing the light on Mills, on what was happening there, but I don't think it's going to happen. So just because we always need people to sneak into this list, I think Royce Freeman snuck into the list a little bit. He's trying to get into the main hall. Are you feeling it?
No, I'm not feeling any Houston Texan whatsoever for any reason whatsoever. Now that Dameon Pierce is no longer going to be playing, I kind of had this, I don't want to say, I mean, as soon as they elevated Royce Freeman, you said to yourself, well, if I was planning to play Rex Burkhead or Dario Ogunbowale, I should probably find a different plan, because just having another piece there, I mean, you already didn't know which of those two was going to be busier. And then throwing Freeman into the mix kind of just totally muddied the waters further. Fuck the Texans.
Yeah, box score wise, they look even, but I would take Jordan Mason over Royce Freeman right now, even with Christian McCaffrey rolling it up there. How about next year, Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold? I'm making your Monday feel pretty good right now, aren't I? Like we just slid down into the mud, didn't we?
Sam Darnold. I feel Sam Darnold more. We'll see, Monday Night Football, it's going to be a horrible offense against a very generous defense. We'll see what the outcome is there. Maybe we'll, but as long as Matthew Stafford is in the locked and upright position, Baker Mayfield's future with the Rams is zero or clipboard guy. And I just don't see it beyond that. I mean, I think we've all seen what Baker Mayfield is. And Sam Darnold, maybe it depends a little bit on how the coaching situation plays out. I mean, yesterday's loss notwithstanding, I think Steve Wilkes is making a really strong case to remain the coach of that team. And if he does, it seems like his desired outcome is for the quarterback that is really good at handing off the football and not making a ton of mistakes as a passer. Maybe Darnold's figured out that that's the role, and he's willing to accept it. If that's the case, Darnold, not Baker Mayfield.
What if I said I'm feeling Matt Corral over all three out of the three of them? But I think that the big deal with Matt Stafford is, if he's got a part of his neck touching his spine, right now, he may be done. So
possible.
So it's, I'm giving a little more credence to Baker Mayfield right now. My heart says Sam Darnold, but I'm gonna let my mind go with Baker Mayfield.
Here's the better question. Sean McVay as the head coach of the Rams in 2023.
No, fuck it. So then maybe Baker won't be there. So that's a good question. That's a good thought. I think Sean will be on with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. I think at some point.
Soup salesman of the year.
Yeah, he will be. So. How about Damien Harris or Ezekiel Elliott next year? Free agent deluxe. Are they free agents deluxe, or is it more like the hamburger version of that?
Boy, Jerry Jones' love of Ezekiel Elliott knows no bounds, right? But I mean, but there are people around him who will talk some sense into him. I feel like he would probably, he would want to keep him. The question would be, will Zeke stick around? If Zeke stuck around in Dallas for whatever reason, I would feel Zeke, because I think they've figured out a combination to make this backfield work with two guys, and maybe that's what their desired outcome will be. But the money is going to have to work, and for Damien Harris, it's going to be all about the landing spot. But I don't have enough evidence of Damien Harris. It's a narrow band. I'm going to say I feel Zeke more, even as an older player, he still has something left.
Yeah, because he's not as old as people think he is. He's
Right.
just got a lot on. It's tough. I think they're both going to be decent if they find the right landing spot. I'll say this: fuck the idea that they're going to find the right landing spot. That's the real. I think that's the underlying answer to this question. I think that's what I love about this show that we do because when we do it, I ask you these questions, but the real answer is half the time like fuck the question.
Right.
We need to rephrase this question. Because you suck at asking questions, Matt Waldman. But Ezekiel Elliott, I'm going to give him the slight edge, but only because I think he's a slightly more skilled runner at this stage. And both are skilled. AFC champion, who you feeling? Bills or Chiefs? Or
I'll go with my preseason prediction and go with the Buffalo Bills. And like totally a toss-up. I mean, any given week, I'm eager to see the game when they play each other for the right to go to the Super Bowl, which I think we will see. Although Cincinnati is sitting out there yelling at me right now, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Maybe Miami as well. I mean, there's some teams with legitimate chances they can play with any, and look, Los Angeles is coming on a little bit too. So, I'm not dismissive of anybody at the moment, but I like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I'm not only feeling the question, Bills or Chiefs, as the AFC Championship. I'm also feeling the fuck that question. Cincinnati has a right to be in there, especially with the way the defense is playing. And when you can stop the run, and and you have the weapons they do, and Burrow's the type of quarterback that he is. I'm feeling Bills or Chiefs or Bengals as part of this question, but I'm leaning Chiefs if I had to answer it for sure. NFC champion, 49ers or Eagles?
This one seems a little easier. I mean, I don't see anyone pounding on the door here, yelling at us, "Let me in!" So I mean, this is the way San Francisco plays defense. I think you have to give them that chance. I'm going to go with the Eagles, though. They seem more of the well-rounded team, and certainly have the offense. I would like to remind them they have a guy named Miles Sanders, who is better apparently than they realize, and they should use him more because we love him as fantasy managers. I'm just saying.
I'm feeling the Eagles, that's for sure. I'd like to feel another team, but I can't think of another team that I would be feeling well enough to add to this list. So yeah, definitely I feel the AFC. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Fuck the NFC. That's kind of how but I've always felt that way, so that's bias, but I also think there's some truth into that. So feeling more next year, we're going to end it with some feeling mores next year with this. Travis Etienne or DeAndre Swift?
Who? No, I'll feel Travis Etienne more, and I don't think we may not feel either of them greatly. Swift seems to have defined himself. When we see it, it's not a two-way split anymore; it's a three-way split there, right? Yeah. So Justin Jackson has fought his way into the mix, and I don't know. I don't see DeAndre Swift turning me into the guy that we tried to make him be. Again, I referenced earlier in our discussion here that oftentimes we're a year early on players. I felt like last year we were in on Swift enough that it felt early then. This year it felt right. I don't think it's going to be right. I think he's kind of defined himself as a player. I'm going to go with that. I'm not thrilled about Etienne right now. Just can't seem to, he seems like both of them seem like huge big play threats. But just don't seem to have it together enough to be every down players.
Yeah, Etienne is that guy that's always going to make a big mistake. I mean, he's either going to be running into the glass, into the glass door, thinking that there's an opening there that doesn't exist, or he's going to fumble, or he's going to try and bounce a play that he shouldn't. He's that kind of player. When you look up boom bust in the dictionary,
right,
there's a picture of Travis Etienne there.
Right next to DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift ain't far away. He's certainly the alternative definition. He might be number 2 on that list for sure. So fuck this question for either of them being running back ones, but I think they can be mid-range running back 2s at best. but I would give the edge to Etienne right now because they're still more excited about him than I think the Detroit Lions are. I think they, like you said, they know who he is. Feeling more, rookie quarterback in New Orleans or Jameis Winston starting in New Orleans?
So I will defer to you in all things rookie quarterback because I don't even know if I know their names yet. I have not read my rookie scouting portfolio 2023, and that's when I will learn all about these players. But in the meantime, I do know enough to know to say fuck Jameis Winston. Seems like a nice enough fellow, but just that ship has sailed. We'll see what the new coaching staff. Okay, maybe not. Maybe they'll have the same coaching staff, but if they do, they've already decided. And if the new coaching staff comes in, I'm sure they'd like to decide. Build for the future. I think either way, building for the future is coming for the Saints.
Yeah, I'm feeling more long-term a rookie quarterback with Jameis Winston as the bridge. And you can get the rookie scouting portfolio at least a pre-order discount for $19.95 through Thursday. This Thursday, on the 22nd. So you can get it through
You should
Thursday
all do that.
night.
I like to pay the full price. It makes me feel better about myself.
And see, I love all that you perverts who like to pay the full price for this. You can get it at $21.95 after that through April 1st, heading into its 18th year. If you like this podcast and like the work that we do, this is certainly a way to be able to say thank you to. But really, you're going to say thank you when you take a look at this publication because it's been pleasantly shocking readers since 2006 with guys like Chris Olave, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Mahomes, Nick Chubb,
Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Adam Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, all sorts of things like that. So, you get a pre-draft and a post-draft that one comes out every April 1st. The pre-draft, post-draft comes out no later than a week after. Great for fantasy, but at the same time, too, it's rooted in football. And when you have guys like Alex Brown, SMU's recruiting director, tell you that it's one of the two most purchased independent draft guys by NFL people that visit with him on a weekly basis for his job to look at these players, that tells you something that it is definitely rooted in football, and it's got that cred. So you can find it at mattwaldman.com, or you can learn more at mattwaldmanrsp.com.
Endorsed by Bob Harris, who doesn't watch college football and has no ideas what these players are coming into the league until he reads the
Fantasy Hall of Famer Bob Harris. So if that's the case, then if he's reading it, then it'll give you some information. He'll figure out. He may figure out what to do with it better, but but that's why he's a Hall of Famer. So feeling more, Desmond Ridder or a rookie quarterback next year in Atlanta?
So the real question is, will Arthur Smith be back as head coach in Atlanta? And if he is, I think he might give Desmond Ridder another shot.
Yeah,
and draft a rookie as well.
Yeah, I think Desmond Ridder gets. I'm feeling that a little bit more, but I wouldn't put it out of the equation of them drafting another rookie. Feeling more, Zach Wilson or a rookie QB in New York? Do you think they get the marketing department out of there?
I think Mike White. I'm feeling Mike White.
You're feeling Mike White. Look at you. You like that Western Kentucky fella, huh?
No, I don't like him, but the players like him. The coaches probably like him. I don't know. I like every time I feel like you can't invest in another rookie quarterback this soon after Josh Rosen taps me on the shoulder and says, "Really?" So probably another rookie.
I'm feeling another rookie. I'm hopeful that I'm feeling another rookie, but I'm not feeling the New York Jets to reliably answer anything about that question on a high level. Feeling more Daniel Jones or Daniel Jones in an ACC booth in a few years and a rookie quarterback in Jersey?
I'm ready to drop gloves on this one. I'm foiled up, Matt Waldman. Let's go. I'm Daniel Jones. I think gets at least another shot, another year in this offense, because I think somewhere Brian Daboll sees just enough Josh Allen to think he can do something with it.
Wow. I'm feeling you saying that. Because I can't see straight with that one. I look at Daniel Jones and I just don't see it. I don't see it. But that's all right. Look, I see you, Bob Harris, and I'm always feeling you. So, love you. Bye.
Love you. Goodbye.